He was a governor, a senior advocate, a minister of justice, and then he was dead. On a quiet Sunday evening, on the night of December 23, 2001, Nigeria's Minister of Justice Cicero of Oyo was gunned down in his Ibadan home. 2 decades later, justice remains elusive and still no answers. Attackers broke into the Ibadan home of Nigeria's Attorney General, Chief Bola Ige. 1 shot to the chest. No robbery. No arrest. What really happened and why? Who ordered the hit? Why did the killers vanish? And why does Nigeria still pretend not to know who murdered one of its brightest minds? This is not just a crime story. This is a political earthquake buried under cover-ups, betrayal, and fear. Born in September 13, 1930 in Oyo, Bola Ige rose to national prominence. Governor of Old Oyo State, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, Minister of Justice under President Obasanjo, and a top legal mind. A master/fluent trilingual orator, he championed democracy, opposed Sharia death sentences and other unethical practices, and loudly challenged religious overreach. Many say Bola Ige was destined for something even greater, perhaps even a presidential run. Known as the Cicero of Oyo, he even eyed a spot at the UN International Law Commission. According to his son Maiwa, on December 23, 2001, by 7 p.m., Bola Ige's bodyguards and security detail trained police officers inexplicably left their posts to eat dinner, leaving his home vulnerable. Armed men stormed his home. They tied up the family into a room, isolated the minister, and shot him once, in cold blood. The killers took nothing, not a phone, not a wallet, not a car. Minutes after, Bola Ige lay dead in his bedroom. The murder wasn't random. It was planned, precise, and politically charged. He was pronounced dead on arrival at Oyo Hospital, sending shockwaves through Nigeria. A week earlier, violence in Oyo State. AD internal feud exploded between Governor Bisi Akande and Deputy Governor Ayola Amasor. A rival assemblyman, Adenayo Olagbaju, was stabbed 25 times to death in public. He was a known loyalist of the then Deputy Governor Ayola Amasor. At the same time, Bola Ige was supporting Governor Bisi Akande in a bitter political feud against Amasor, seen as a political hit tied to this feud. Days before the murder, Bola Ige was assaulted, his cap yanked off during a public event. The humiliation was clear, the threat obvious. Then he was killed. Amasor publicly threatened Ige for siding with Akande, taunting him days before the murder. 11 suspects were arrested, including figures linked to Deputy Governor Amasor. But the cases collapsed due to poor forensics and weak evidence. The suspects were not street thugs. They were political actors, party loyalists, and insiders. One theory: Ayola Amasor orchestrated the murder out of revenge. He was arrested, then mysteriously released. Another theory: Bola Ige stood in the way of a federal power move. Some believe President Obasanjo's inner circle had reasons to remove Ige, a potential 2003 presidential contender. And yet another theory blames extremist elements angered by Ige's opposition to Sharia punishments. When justice is delayed for decades, it often means it was never meant to come. Over a dozen suspects, multiple arrests, no convictions. Court documents vanished. Key witnesses disappeared. One suspect even confessed in 2009. Still, no justice. A key suspect, Amasor. His loyal thug, Fryo, led armed men who assaulted Ige earlier, linking him to the murder scene. Bizi Akand later accused then-President Obasanjo's government of a cover-up, asserting it was a state murder to neutralize Ige as a rising AD star. He alleged key evidence was dropped when Oyo's new governor, Rashidi Ladoja, withdrew the case. Bola Ige's family believes the murder was facilitated from within, that his own security detail let the killers in. The state promised answers, but delivered silence. Ige had opposed Sharia punishments like stoning, a stance that irritated conservative factions in the north. He was pushing legal reforms, and also considering resigning due to concerns about his political safety. One theory: political punch-up with an AD Amasor versus Governor Akand. Some say Amasor had motive. Another, state-level collusion, claims that Obasanjo's administration backed a cover-up to sideline Bola Ige. Yet another, he opposed Sharia death sentences in the north. Some believe extremists could be involved. Multiple suspects arrested, including Amasor's ally, but no convictions due to inadequate evidence. U.S. Embassy cables described the police investigation as poorly equipped and undertrained. Ige's son, Maiwa, says the security detail gave killers free entry, signaling collusion. He described in chilling detail how the assassins forced the family aside, leaving them helpless before the fatal shot. His daughter Funsho shared the haunting premonitions she had and the family's emotional collapse. His death marked a dark turn. Political assassinations with impunity, Kudirat Abiola, MKO Abiola, Funsho Williams, Adeneo Olagbaju. Unresolved mysteries of a broken justice system. Each name a wound, each case a warning. Icons like Wole Soyinka and Transparency International have repeatedly called for reopening of the case. But more than 2 decades later, the killers are still walking free. Justice remains pending. His name has faded from the headlines, but the questions never stopped burning. Was it political revenge? A betrayal from within? A state-backed execution cloaked in silence? Or was Bola Ige simply too powerful to live? The case highlights Nigeria's culture of political violence and the failure of policing. Even Nigeria's former president, Muhammadu Buhari, ordered a reinvestigation into the case in 2016. But what's the outcome? Bola Ige didn't die in war. He wasn't lost to sickness. He was silenced coldly, methodically, in the safety of his own home. A man who dedicated his life to justice, murdered, while holding Nigeria's highest legal office. Bola Ige wasn't just a lawyer. He was a visionary who dared to challenge the status quo. Yet he was silenced. Was it internal party vendetta, political betrayal, or state conspiracy? We may never know. One thing is clear: we still deserve answers. And unless the dialogue continues, if you believe justice is long overdue, if this story shakes you, share it. If you believe justice still matters, comment below. And if you're tired of the silence, subscribe for more mysterious, hidden murders, untold truths buried beneath Nigeria's political shadows.